Strategy number 6, adapt to learning needs. Flexibility, in my opinion, is one of the biggest benefits of online learning. We have the option of synchronous and/or asynchronous. We can even combine online learning and in-person for hybrid learning. Now, there is hybrid flexible, abbreviated to HyFlex, that simultaneously offers face-to-face, synchronous, and asynchronous options for a course, depending on each student's preference. Considering the extra teaching workload often associated with a pandemic era, it is tempting for educators to gravitate towards the most convenient form of learning. However, students' needs must dictate the form of learning the educator chooses. Select the most suitable learning form for students. An overwhelming number of students in my class prefer in-person learning. Since the university was closed due to the COVID-19 lockdown, synchronous online learning has been the next best option for my mostly college-age students. I also recorded the class activities and made them available upon request for asynchronous viewing. If my students were mostly working adults with families, I'd have opted for asynchronous online learning with periodic synchronous sessions. If possible, survey students to determine the learning form that will best fit their needs. Customize the course content and delivery accordingly. With regards to recording live class activities or lectures, I assured my students on the first day of class that I would crop any recording to include the screen share portion only. This is important because some students might be self-conscious and reluctant to have their webcam view visible in a class recording. I also include a statement at the beginning of my recordings to remind students that it is for personal use only. Use the most effective learning process. As a product of teacher-centered learning, I'm passionate about lecturing and can talk for hours on end. But I know my students aren't thrilled about listening to me talk at length. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn. This timeless quote is the epitome of why active learning has become popular. Research reveals that student retention increases when they are actively involved in the learning process. In any learning environment, but especially online, students evidently tend to lose interest in learning if the class does not engage them. Accordingly, I adapt a student-centered approach to facilitate student learning in stride. I divide a new topic into 3 layers: relatability, familiarization, and proficiency. In relatability, I use analogies to help students relate to the new topic. For this topic on azimuth, it is used to determine compass error by celestial observation. I relate it to terrestrial navigation, covered in a requisite course. For example, when shores are in sight, landmarks can be observed to calculate compass error. However, landmarks are not available out in open oceans. Thus, celestial bodies have to be used to compute compass error. The more students can relate to the new topic, the easier they seem to understand it. For familiarization, I facilitate the solution process to maximize students' involvement to get them familiar with the topic. I guide students step by step, solving the problem as a team. Before we start the solution, I strongly encourage them to fully participate and resist the urge to take notes. I assure them that after we have solved the problem together, I'll go through the solution to highlight each step and give them time to take notes. This approach helps to keep everyone at the same pace and enhances learning. Fundamentally, I incorporate what Henry Ford said into my pedagogy. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. For proficiency, I give students practice problems similar to the one we solved together. I also provide them with one interactive solution to reference as needed. Ensure students are familiar with applicable LMS features. The move to online learning means more in-person activities will have to be done virtually. Thus, students are required to use features in the LMS that they may not have used for their face-to-face classes, for example, discussions, assignments, quizzes, VoiceThread, etc. Ensure students are proficient with all LMS features used in your course. Give students links to helpful tutorials. If you are going to create these tutorials, best practice is to switch to Student View for reference to ensure your tutorials are designed from the student's perspective. By the same token, Avoid using apps that are not part of your institution's offering. There are tons of nifty apps available to enhance online learning. While many of them are fascinating to use, some may not work well on all operating systems that students are using. Besides, if educators and students' other courses are using different apps, this could be a potential source of undue frustration.